Hello again, everyone. Melth here, with more of my Baldur's Gate 3 challenge run, where, among other restrictions which you can see detailed in the video description, I'll be avoiding long rests, not healing my party with healing potions, and trying to tackle every encounter with combat and do so in the hardest possible way. Watch out for spoilers throughout. So, here we are once again overlooking the wreckage of a goblin-strewn battlefield. While I loot a few things around here, let me talk about my goals in and out of character for this session. So in character, of course, we are here looking for the Master Druid Halfson, who's apparently a great healer who can hopefully fix our Mind Flayer affliction. Now, we were told that he was captured by goblins going into some ruins. We wrongly guessed the ruins to the south of the Druid's Grove, but found withers there instead. That left this other ruin to check out next, and having found Arid in here last time, that confirms we're on the right track. I didn't loot Goblinning last time because I'm in kind of a hurry to do a goblin fight before the end of the video. These letters we can read, some of them indicate interesting happenings, but we can't really follow up on them when we get to Baldur's Gate. We can just sell them, though. And Scratch will join us in camp later on. Now, out of character, we've got some somewhat different goals for this session. See, to accomplish my no-rest run, one of the big hazards is that there's some sort of forced rest in the game, where the game will just make you benefit from a long rest. I want to try to avoid some of those. Or... hadn't heard that dialogue before, but yeah, we can get a quest about a special smith here.
More like early drafts than final blueprints.
Early drafts indeed, because, so you can see here 4 weapons drawn, right? Including a sickle and a dagger and then, an axe and things like that. Well, when you actually do the quest, you have 3 options at the end of it. Sickle and dagger, yes. These things, no. The other one's a greatsword, oddly enough. So, that might show some changes either in the quest design or in perhaps our design as we complete that quest to fulfill the blacksmith's little dream. It's a pretty cool quest, I would say, although the reward tends to usually be outclassed by the time you get it, in my experience. It just seems like by the time I got deep enough in the Underdark to complete the quest, which is what's required, I tend to have so many magical weapons that are stronger than what I can make that it doesn't really matter anymore.
Anything of use?
But around here, lots of weapons to loot. Curious that goblins didn't already loot them, I suppose, since they are valuables. Plus, this place has been abandoned for more than a century. It was destroyed by Ketheric's army, so quite a long time ago. That was back when he was, a Shar worshipper rather than what he is now. We'll get to that.
Let's see what this does.
So, there we get the start of the quest. We can learn more about it in the basement of this house, so that'll be our next location. Selûnite stuff here. A lot of them worship Selûna around here. Ketheric himself used to, as we'll find out more about later on. And that's probably why he targeted this town when it switched to Selûna's opposite goddess Shar, who has as a sacrament to murder Selûna worshippers every week or so. Which seems like it's going to be kind of unsustainable to me, but there's a little goblin guard. I guess we'll end up fighting him. He's just one guy, so it's pretty trivial. Oh, see, because they're small, so instead of just taking your head, like most human characters in this game will say, they take just your nose. That makes sense.
And something within you stirs in response.
We'll learn more about that brand this episode, I think. But for now, I'll just eliminate that one guy. We won't worry about it.
I'm ready. Be quick.
Should be pretty easy. I look forward to when I have more enhancements to my attacks so I don't have as much random luck involved. There we go.
Still alive.
So,
Progress.
back to what I was doing. We'll go down here.
Seems simple enough.
So, to go back to what I was talking about before, one of my out-of-character goals for this time is essentially to take care of this cutscene that'll happen, which can force you to do a rest later on if you don't address it promptly. There are several moments in the game where the game will just force you to do a long rest, and for this no long rest run, I want to try to either avoid those entirely, or in case like this where it can't be avoided entirely, make it happen but it won't actually restore anything, so that mechanically it's like it didn't have a long rest. When you get the voice of the absolute cutscene, that's one of those moments where if you travel after that, sometimes you can end up just having to do a long rest because it'll just suddenly be night. So I want to avoid that and just get that out of the way, trigger that cutscene, go back to camp when I'm still at full HP, rest so I get nothing back and the cutscene's out of the way, and then I can get onto the adventure proper without needing to worry about that. Another example of such things is in the Mountain Pass area. If you go anywhere near Elminster, you'll then be forced to rest when you try to leave the Mountain Pass. That's okay if you save him for the very last thing before you're about to end Act 1 anyway, but it can ruin things if you plan to just go in and out of the mountain pass. This chest is booby-trapped for some reason.
Stay vigilant. There are traps here.
So we'll have Astarion take care of that. This is the basement of that blacksmith, of course. And conveniently, it's full of all the weapon types that you can forge for that quest. So that's good because you need to actually use one of them as an ingredient, so I'm glad they provided that here. Although in practice I tend to just loot this place hours before I complete that quest and then sell everything. Let me use guidance on myself. As I recall, I need to make a knowledge check after looking at these things. So it could be beneficial to have that. So, Greatsword, Sickle, and Dagger. Although, as I said before, that little chart we could find had other weapons drawn on it. And Susser Bark is only found in the Underdark.
They call for Susa bark.
Did I make the check? Nope. Well, luckily, I know it's in the Underdark. Greatsword's one of the options. There's other weapons in here too, of course. It is a blacksmith's place.
What path lies before me?
There are also several entrances from here to a spider-infested little lair that we'll go to later on when we're not trying to just get this little cutscene and forced rest scenario out of the way.
Well, hello. A crooked touch.
Should have used guidance there, but I was getting a little bit lazy. Just trying to speed through things. Alright, let us pick that again. With guidance this time. You can see again that happy bonus applies to absolutely everything, making Astarion, as I've said before, just phenomenally good despite High Elf not really being a great race. Here's some Infernal Iron for Karlach, so that's nice.
Infernal metal! This can help damn and patch up my engine.
And a nice little basic +1 short sword. Might as well use it, I suppose. Maybe on Astarion. None of us really plans to be much of a melee fighter, so shouldn't matter too much.
Walk in death.
Silly Dark Urge lines like that, walk in death. By far, not the silliest line that you'll hear from the Dark Urge over the course of this. One reason this quest, I think, doesn't ever quite live up to what I'm hoping for from it is just that you can only make 3 not that great weapon types as your chosen weapon at the end of it. If you can make whatever weapon you want, it would fit in more builds. But the other thing is just that by the time I tend to get it, I usually have so many magic items anyway that I just don't care about that Susser Bark item. It's kind of outclassed what we found already. In any case, hoping to avoid more fights so I can save those all for the proper part of the run and have maximum challenge that way, I'm going to just leave here to the west without further investigation of the goblins up there torturing some gnome, and then try to get closer to where that little cutscene will trigger. Might as well loot alchemy ingredients along the way. These are just used for healing potions, but the thing about alchemy ingredients is that just having the basic ones can be used as kind of fodder for making the potions you actually want. You know, it might be possible to jump in Featherfall to just skip past most of this little goblin outpost here and get more directly to where I'm trying to go. But I think, given that I don't actually have access to Featherfall right now, I'll probably instead just cross this bridge, fight this little squad of goblins, and that'll hopefully just be one fight that I can take no damage in, and then move on with the rest of the run. I wonder, I'm not actually sure about this, but if I did long jump, can I jump across that gap and skip past some of the goblins that way?
True way.
Taking a bit of damage. Okay, so I will avoid that.
What to do?
So let us go into stealth mode. I think the bird is in stealth mode already, right? Yes, okay. Sneak across this bridge where the goblins are. And I mentioned last time, my strategy kind of often involves using the terrain. In this case, I want to get this bit of high ground to use that to just shoot the goblins with advantages, and not literal advantage in 5e terms, just having a +2, and them having penalties to attack me. And a lot of them being unable to reach me. That would be my goal here. They have a sentry ready to sneak past to do that, though. So I will slip on up, and then I'll go into probably turn-based mode to creep up to where that sentry is. Okay. So. There's the sentry. I'm going to sneak up on him as best I can. We are working on that. You can also dash. Let's try to get on over there.
The element of surprise.
You might be too far back. I'm not sure. Let's see. Yes, but maybe we can fix that with a jump, which is surprisingly stealthy in this game.
Rat feet.
It's doing a forced save here. I guess she still has Long Shredder going, so that's nice. Can't get up there, but could jump over to here.
Let's have
Alright,
some fun.
up you go. Can't climb. Oh, you're just barely out of movement? I think everyone else is blocked in that case. So that didn't work out quite the way I wanted it to, but they at least got pretty close. Let's get you up there.
Staying out of sight.
I think I can exit turn-based mode now. Nope, no. Get up, not down, up. Then get up there and attack.
Oi! Thicko! This here's off limits. Get to the main gate, or I'll plug you full of arrows.
You look pretty silly with your hat covering your face there.
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times.
Oh, he didn't actually force us to make a choice there. Feels a little bit cheesy to just attack him here, but I suppose if there's no other force interaction there, I might as well just start the attack.
No one stopped me yet.
Usually I've had to sneak up on him in the past. I'm not sure what's different this time. Well, you know who's pretty good at shoving as a bonus action? Astarion. There we go. So, me against a lot of goblins. But the good thing is, I'm up here and they're down there. Those powerful wargs can't get to me because I'm way up here. They have only a few ranged guys. They do also have a drum they can hit to summon more reinforcements, which would probably be okay.
Victory.
But if I can stop them from doing that, all the better. So, I want to take out the trackers, I think, first of all. They are low HP and have ranged attacks, so they're the most dangerous in that respect.
Come on.
Let's have maybe Ballista, who has better range, go over here. Can he hit that tracker? We want to turn off, I think, Repelling Blast for this one. Unless we think we can push her off of that cliff, which I don't think we can do. Might actually try it. No, can't reach. Okay. So, off with Repelling Blast again. That was fairly likely to be a kill anyway, but convenient.
Let's turn someone inside out.
So you've got your main good attack now. That tracker is our biggest adversary, I would say. I don't think I can actually throw anything over there. I just want to see if it's possible anyway. No. Sentinel could do something to us, and this person over there on the ground could do something to us.
Another fight.
So,
Let's go.
perhaps you walk over there and just ping an arrow at that sharp-eyed snurd on the ground. Sharp Eyes are ranged people, as you might expect from the name, and they can also summon wargs sometimes.
This is your end.
Can I get a finisher?
Death's call.
Alright. So, that tracker I don't think I can get to, as I mentioned. But I might be able to hit Olak or Warrior Puce. Is it possible to get to have no range penalty? Maybe if Karlak gets out of the way.
Fire, baby.
So, let's have Karlak fire away first. Perhaps at... No, she still has disadvantage. Okay. That's fine. We'll just take our shots. Or she can actually throw something, given that she has the good strength score. We do have good height here, so take that. Path is interrupted. Do I have a spot that isn't interrupted? Okay. If not, let's go for that one, I guess. Nope. Okay. Well, let's crowd Ballista out of the way. So we can get Karlak out of the way. I guess it turns out it doesn't really matter. And then we'll just take our shots. Better accuracy here, thanks to things like archery style. So we'll probably hit this guy and probably kill him. Man, it's lagging a lot again this time. I don't know why. My bird wasn't spotted. It'd usually be useful to go in and give me advantage by blinding somebody, but in this case I don't think I really need it. So she's going to go for the alarm, as she usually does, which means that she's not going to be shooting me from over there, so that's ideal. And the wargs will come over here, but they'll be a long time in coming, and they can't really get up the ladder, as I recollect. So, being wargs, they're kind of out of the fight. The warrior here, and the sentinel over there, or tracker over there, those are the remaining threats. So, let's have you throw at somebody who's down below, so you can maximize your possible throw damage. Kind of the best person for that job. Since throwing weapons, unlike ranged ones, do extra fall damage when they fall a long way. Looks like that was not a long enough way. It was worth a shot. Okay. Well, in that case, I think I want to take out this tracker. The warrior first. Can't do the extra attack because Gloomstalker only gets that once, but that's fine. We have almost wrapped this up, I think. Let's take you out like that. Like so. So, Astarion is fired, you've fired. You've got nothing left. So it's up to you, Lae'zel. Can you take out this warrior? Probably, especially if you use some of your abilities such as Halo of Spores. But just having 2 shots to do it makes a big difference too. There we go. Oh, I forgot to turn off stupid mode that wastes your shots. That's fine this time though.
Well, this is my happy place.
Alright, so the wargs can't reach me, so that's them dealt with.
My turn.
Is this one low enough to throw something at? I'll keep trying it.
This'll help.
Same damage. That's fine. I guess I could have a bird go in and try to manufacture advantage against that guy, so as to make it easier to take out with everyone. If I now strike it and blind it, which I'd like to do because it doesn't know where I am, now everyone has advantage against it. The bird, of course, can't move because it, wrong initiative score for that, so that's not ideal. But everyone else can hit this thing really well now. Birds will be great for that purpose. They're really flimsy. You only get them once per short rest, so you want to be careful to preserve them. But it's a very useful feature. Can I Halo of Spores you down there? I can, actually. Okay, nice. Halo of Spores is pretty short reach, but when you can get free hits from it, that's wonderful. It's really great for your action economy. And for just boosting your damage up. Oh, I need to really want to turn that off. Next chance I get. Okay, let me fire away at you. Still a decent chance. Alright. So he'll surely dash or something over here. Oh no, he doesn't actually even do that. Guess he's tired of living. Could fiddle around to get, perfect accuracy, but I think it's not really worth it compared to just finishing him off faster. Alright, so we'll loot this place and then move on.
We'll need a cover story.
They said we'll need a cover story, but then we actually, this is the point where they stop asking us questions, pretty much. Up until this point, they all challenged us, but up ahead of their party, they don't care. I guess I might as well actually remember to put myself back in disguise, though. And I mean, if I'm a drow, they love drow, so it solves that problem. I could bring this war drum to summon more goblins, but I'll just fight them once I've got past this little forced rest event that I keep mentioning. Warg Fangs are wonderful, so make sure to loot all of them. They let you make bloodless elixirs, which are one of the best elixirs in the game. Even though they did get nerfed in honor mode, they're still really good. The Goblin Warg pens and things like that will basically be your source of Warg Fangs and Bloodless Listeners for a good swath of the game. Not that they're uncommon compared to some things like Vigilance in my experience, but happy to get a few of them here. There is kind of another back path that you can sneak through over there to avoid these guys, but involves a whole bunch of landmines. I feel like it's more trouble than just fighting them, and less fun. So, am I over encumbered? Yeah, I am, okay. Picked up too much loot. In that blacksmith shop especially, I bet. Alright, let's just shovel these items in other people's inventory and not worry about it. Claw has 2 fangs. Unusual. So usually either on this bridge or over there is where we get the little scene. Let's see if it happens now. There we go. So, trying to mind control is like we mind control the people using the Mind Flayer parasite.
Hear my voice. Obey my
This is, of course, a pretty cool moment in the game. You know, it comes kind of out of nowhere. Clearly Mind Flayer parasite related, but we don't know yet what it is. It starts making you ask questions.
The voice is irresistible. You recognize the overwhelming authority that.
And I suppose from a writing perspective, having us use this power on other people first helps to demonstrate kind of how it works and makes us maybe feel more connection to this moment than we otherwise would if we had just had this come out of nowhere.
Featureless shadowscape, nothingness in every direction.
And we kind of get introduced to the 3 undervillains.
Before you, an armored male elf.
That's Ketheric, armored male elf.
And command.
They'll keep calling Gortash handsome. I'm not sure I agree with that one.
Smile. And a pale
And pale does not even do Orin justice.
eyes.
We'll learn much more about these 3, of course, as the plot goes on.
are my chosen. They speak for me. Aid their search for the weapon, and you will be worthy to stand beside them.
So this is sure that all the other true souls, as they call them, are being told, basically.
The visions fade and the voice falters as a strange energy swells around you. The many
This, of course, is the many-sided artifact that Shadowheart was carrying. It just zoomed in here to save us.
presence.
D20s are the most powerful thing in the D&D universe, of course.
My power grows.
So I guess we can still hear his voice, which is unusual, because usually that artifact can cut off its ability to communicate with us at all.
The reckoning draws.
From inside, of course, the Emperor can just pilot the thing apparently wherever he wants, including right out of Shadowheart's pockets, or probably into them in the first place, after she got infested.
Whatever power the artifact possesses, it shows no sign of it now.
So, of course, we're bringing what they want right into the middle of their camp, but luckily for us, they're goblins. They're just the lowest and stupidest of creatures and won't do a thing about that. And there's Volo, who got captured immediately because he's incompetent. Here's Grath the Traitor.
Welcome, your great.
They love drow, so they always will be obsequious toward you.
Looking to buy.
He does indeed have a few good things.
Nicked him off the dead, didn't I? I mean, raid spoils your majestically.
So they've raided this town called Joaquin's Rest, north of it, that we'll go to eventually. We'll find it still on fire, even though weeks have passed somehow. Cool name. Not that good item. This is, I think, the real prize here. I think they must have upped the cost of it. I don't remember it being that expensive. To aid and comfort. I mean, nice, but that's also nice. But this is really the best thing. This is a good set of armor, but we can get it later on when we have traders to give us a better deal than this guy does. So let me focus on just trying to get enough money, perhaps, to afford that thing. Alright.
Been a pleasure, your greatness.
Volo is doing quite terribly here. Let's give this cloak actually to Astarion while I'm thinking about it. And then, of course, we'll give him these gloves to give him +2 damage on all his shots from now on. He does the most shots, so he's the best wielder of that. These gloves... It'll be better once we get branded inside, which we'll do shortly, I think. Let's just, while we're here, take care of stuff with the Volo, take care of getting branded, and then that'll all be dealt with, then we can just go back and get the story to move forward, and then do our main adventure. Talking about that raid on Joaquin's rest.
To Ash, the captives were many. Goblin kind had reduced them to cowering filthenny. So raise it, your goblets.
Luckily, they apparently don't know what are real words and what are not, because goblins are, as I said before, just the lowest and stupidest of creatures. She keeps him in a cage. We'll be rescuing him. But this is a chance to make fun of Volo, who has been saying foolish things this entire time.
Quite so. Now, if you'll excuse me, draw Ragslin, I am draw Ragslin, Tumptuous, draw Ragslin,
You broke him!
wait, draw Ragslin, we pray, we...
Come on, pigeon! Back to your cage!
Now, look what you've done.
Why not use your invisibility potion, man? Actually, why doesn't he? That's a good question. He still has it.
Gribber, idiot!
Right, yes.
Alright, so, she'll lead him away. And let's kind of talk to them here by any chance. Wow, rude. And also, he must be really weak to be pushed around by a goblin. She's like an eighth his size and weight. There's a waypoint over here that I can trigger so I can get back here faster. Might as well do that. There we go. Okay, so in we go. And we'll fight all these guys soon, once we've got the forced rest thing out of the way. So the goblins worship the Absolute that we heard mentioned by Volo in the gate before.
Response. Your illicit power is beyond reach until you rest.
You one of those moonrise types things?
Our first mention, I think, of Moonrise Towers. Certainly find out more about that soon. That, of course, is Ketheric's lair. It's kind of been alluded to, but not by name up until this point.
By the looks of you.
I guess all drow look the same to these goblins. Fair enough.
Audience is right.
I do like that line.
She's an uppity one and no mistake, but she knows her business. She's in telling the war chiefs what's what. Next raid's gonna be a big one, I hear.
So they're planning a raid on the Druid Grove, but they somehow can't find out where it is, even though it's right down the street.
Oh, come on now. They're just having a bit of fun.
So in here we'll see they're putting that brand that we saw glowing people's eyes before.
Do you
Smells like burnt flesh in
Let's just interrupt this conversation, shall we?
Now here's somebody special. The Absolute has touched you, hasn't she?
Priestess Gut needs to touch you too.
Hold out your arm so I can mark your flesh.
Doesn't sound so appealing when you put it that way.
Shows our devotion to the Absolute. These maggots see how strong we are with her guidance.
So she, of course, is one of the three that were drawn on that goblin's drawing that we found outside of bit of Moonhaven that we've been through so far.
Soon, and you should be too. You ready? Brace yourself. This'll sting.
So there's actually no downside whatsoever to going through with this, other than, I guess, a bit of disapproval. And there are some upsides. There are a lot of magic items that only work if you're branded.
Hold
So
still.
I find that those are fun and interesting enough that I want to at least have the option. They're not necessarily that good, but
As pain muddles
I can show more of the
its
game
become entangled
and more of the toys that are in it if I go through with this.
She too
Importantly, she's not aware that she has a parasite, but if I talk with her about that, she'll leave this room, which will make the fight much less hard, and I want it to be maximally hard, so I'll avoid that.
priestess receiving instructions.
They keep saying Gortash is handsome. Maybe this is from her perspective, and I'm sure to a filthy goblin, everyone who isn't a goblin looks good in comparison.
The vision dissolves away. You the goblin priestess in the temple once again. Your minds brush against one another, but are swiftly parted.
Don't want to get intimate in front of the novices. Fair enough. Got some weird...
Luckily, she doesn't learn anything about how we're, their enemies from looking into her mind like that. No one ever seems to find anything out about us.
Maybe I could help with that. Us true souls got a
We haven't heard that phrase true soul, I don't think, up until this point. Usually we have an encounter on the road with people who are talking about a dead true soul. We'll do that shortly. Let's just abruptly leave this conversation, and then repeat it, identically, with Leiboing Zell.
Now, here's... Do you hear? Do you... You ready? Brace yourself.
She still sounds like it hurts her, so... Okay, so that's taken care of. There's a shopkeeper over to that side, but I'm pretty much out of money, and I'd rather sell things back where I can make a better deal. So, let's avoid that. Let's go over there and rescue Volo, and then get on with our adventure. Rescue Volo, because he'll show up in camp. We can get a little scene with him, too. Might as well take care of it all at the same time.
Don't go bothering my pigeon. He's mine.
Figures goblins would like pigeons.
Keep him safe. Listen to him coo. Till I gets hungry or some such. What's it to ya? Then catch one on your own.
The mark glows, but you feel nothing in response.
I'm glad we don't get branded on the eye like these guys do.
Until you rest.
I could do friends here. Should probably call the guards if I fail it. Might be better to just stick with guidance. Got a very good chance to succeed it anyway. Yeah.
All right, calm down. I don't want no trouble. Here's the key. Pigeon's all yours.
Ah, my friend, we can speak freely.
Good thing he recognizes me.
I'm in no hurry to take my turn on that spit out front. Perhaps you'd be so kind as to unlock this cage? Curiosity, my friend. It didn't benefit the cat, but it's the foundation of my career. Though, I admit I've hit something of an impasse. Bless you, my friend. Aha! I knew I could count on you, my friend.
He's called us his friend a lot of times per sentence.
Hate for our friendship to end here.
It's like
Please,
watching
won't you
Yu-Gi-Oh!
make me once
We
we've
talk of
both
friendship.
clipped the goblin yoke? Smashing! Soon, my friend. Soon we can share a flagon of something liquid and a tale of daring do.
So he finally does use his invisibility potion to get out, I guess. Alright, so with that, let's head on back to Emerald Grove, and we can camp and get these scenes out of the way. And that'll finally be it before we can really hit the road with no long rests. It's interesting he's still saying that. Maybe I'm going to be stuck with that loop forever because I refused to talk to him those first few times.
I should speak up.
I think Gale needs a magic item. We can take care of that too, I guess.
Ah, my good fellow. Quite the cozy setup you have here. I'll just make myself comfortable. Thank you so much. I was just settling in and reviewing my latest findings. Mind flayers, cultists, and, of course, your esteemed company. Why, I'm practically an expert. They've tentacles, you know? Quite shocking. The druid Halson had some kind of mind flare specimen in a jar in his quarters. A replica, no
It's
doubt,
real, of
but
course. We'll be going there to get that momentarily. I think the next thing I'll do will be talking to his apprentice because we haven't found him so far.
Here, on the Sword Coast.
Nothing impossible about that. They're all over the place in very small numbers underground here. We killed several, actually.
You're either an excellent storyteller.
I'm sure he'd believe us if we threw in a dragon.
Something quite exceptional.
You know, like the dragons that were actually there.
Tell me, have you noticed any residual psionic malaise since the alleged encounter? That's quite impossible.
Now, he's wrong about that. The usual timeline for Ceramorphosis would be about, like, a week, so we could still be okay. For a little bit, maybe.
If what you say were true, you'd be a mind flayer by now. You? Infected by a mind flayer? Huh, ridiculous. Isn't it? Perhaps that's for the best. I'd be irresponsible not to debunk such a strange claim.
It is curious, come to think of it, that he can see the Mind Flayer parasite through her eyeball, but no one else seemingly can in the game. I mean, no one else recognizes that we're infected other than true souls using their mind powers and whatnot. Maybe no one else looks that closely, without already knowing.
If I just peer in your eye, I could quickly... Oh, dear sweet God!
Of course, I think you can have tadpoles go through your ear or whatever too, but in any case.
If we managed it, we'd have a specimen of incredible rarity.
As I mentioned before, you know, in character, it's pretty easy to remove Mind Flayer parasites if you don't care about damage to the host, which in D&D you don't need to, because it's so easy to fix these things. So I think, in character, he would risk just having this guy dig the thing out. If he loses the eye, he can regenerate that eventually. Out of character, we know that won't work in this game. He's a shopkeeper too, so let's see if he has anything we want. Darkness is pretty good. Haste, pretty good. You know, this one can be really strong if you're abusing it, but I can't heal very much, and I'm not using healing potions, which can also trigger it, so for this run it won't be as strong as it usually is, so I'll be probably not getting that one. He does have these potions, which are not that great normally, but I haven't found any. Usually I can, you know, make or get my own by this point, but it hasn't come up. I won't have enough Bardic Inspiration to really benefit much from this, because I can't be resting very often, and thus can't be replenishing it. So let's go with that. I'll use that potion tomorrow to speak with any animals. It should last all day, and by the end of the day I'm sure I'll find some more speak with animals potions.
Not yet, I'm afraid, but my expectations are very, very high.
Okay, let's talk to Gale. Wow!
A moment, if you please.
Talk to him very remotely.
I've something important to discuss with you. We've been traveling together for a while now, and it's just about time that I shared something with you.
Pretty much every party member, except for, I guess, the Lady Boingzel, has a secret, and none of them decide to share until they absolutely have to, even though the other ones have all been accepted.
To keep quiet, but
I feel like in character at this point, just sit everyone down and tell them, like, guys, if you have anything else to come forward about, now is the time. But we don't have the option to do so.
I have this condition, very different from the parasite we share, but just as deadly. The specifics are rather personal, but suffice it to say that it is a malady I've learned to live with, though not without some effort. What it comes down to is this. Every so often, I need to get my hands on a powerful magical item and absorb the weave inside. Trust me when I say, the loss of the occasional wizard staff or tome of enchantment is a bargain given the cost of allowing me to deteriorate. It's been days since I last consumed an artifact, since before we were abducted. It is time. And by that I mean, it's imperative that I find and consume strands of weave.
I don't think I mentioned before, but for those who don't know, you know, the weave is kind of the general explanation for how magic exists in this particular setting. A little bit vague, no real fabric metaphors that make much sense about it, but they keep calling it the weave everywhere. I mean, I'd be happy to help, I want to know why.
You have my thanks. And fear not, your implicit trust is well placed and will be rewarded with any and all means at my disposal. As luck would have it, you're already primed to give me exactly what I need.
So what do we have that's less useful? I think we don't have many things because we've sold most of them. Could give up the Gloves of Power. Watcher's Guide, I think, is of low value. That's probably the pick here. I kind of held on to it partly for that reason.
Thank you.
You'd think that we would see something happen here that might reveal more about the truth of this Netherese magic he's got, but I guess he just kind of puts a hand against his chest, and that does it.
That hit the spot. I can feel it work. The magic, it's like a lullaby that sings to sleep the demon inside. A metaphorical demon, I haste to point out, but no less dangerous. And no less bound to wake up again to continue its ravages. Such is the nature of all monsters. Grateful as I am, the course of our camaraderie is much better served by not
I don't
just
really know
focusing
why
on
Gale
the
wouldn't tell us,
details.
at least some of the information at this
Not
point.
just yet.
It's not like most of it would really be any kind of
Sincerely,
big
though,
secret that anyone other than
I
certain
understand
wizards would
I'll
care
have
about or
to give you
understand.
answers in return. But in time,
He could pretty easily leave out the stuff that directly involves Mistra if he wanted to, while just saying that he's affected by Netherese magic, and that would probably be enough for characters to understand, at least for the time being.
my lord, I bow to your boundless kindness.
He'd be happy to part with a few of these items, we have so many, if he would just be told what was going on. He doesn't like that Gale is still being so evasive. Well, let's get to bed and get these cutscenes taken care of. So here's where we would actually be Ceramorphosing. It has been about the right amount of time in this case. Been about a week. Really should be a gradual process of it, just kind of eating our brains a bit every day and it's going to be a little bit dumber.
Drips down your forehead. Pain shoots through your fingers. The world swims as you close, then reopen your eyes. How long have you been waiting here? A moment? A night? A 10-day?
And she's here with the worst plan, as usual.
Can you feel it crawling through you? Tendrils squirm.
She's actually, like, we'll be telling her that she's wrong with this, but I guess she is actually right. This was when we would have been Ceramorphosing.
Popping, your flesh swelling.
None of those things seem to actually be happening. We take no damage whatsoever, no physical deterioration, but
I can. I see it in you. I feel it in me. We are lost. I will be quick with my blade. First you, then the others, then myself.
Your minds intertwine. You sense a touch of uncertainty, a touch of disgust.
so weirdly enough, even if you let her kill you, visually nothing happens. Like, you die, and then camp just goes on as normal. You can walk over and have someone else res your body. She won't care about that. No one has any comments about it. Life just goes on. The adventure goes on. It's pretty weird and pretty silly. Oddly enough, she actually seems to like this kind of treatment for some reason. Libwingzell is pretty weird, and any kind of interaction with her often just... It's hard to judge what she'll like and what she won't like. Sometimes she, as you would expect, hates you being a jerk to her. Sometimes she loves it. Just hard to predict in advance.
Take it. One motion.
I know how to kill people. Well, I guess you did just see me stab someone like 1,000 times in like the guts or whatever, so no wonder she'd asked me to do it correctly, I guess.
Chuk. A splendid ruse. My anger is surpassed only by my respect. I will wait, but know this. I am watching. If the sickness does not pass come dawn, I will end us all.
So here we meet the Dream Visitor, which we of course chose the appearance of at the beginning of the game, which I think is actually quite clever. See, as we'll learn, the Dream Visitor is basically fake, concocted by a Mind Flayer to appeal to us. And so having us, the players, design the character makes it more likely to be a character that'll be, implicitly appealing to the player, and more likely to be trusted. I think that's a good choice. I think as the Dark Urge, he might be forced to ask this and get no real response.
Don't worry. You will not be
That doesn't address what I asked at all. Kind of suspicious, in fact.
while I'm around.
So I'm sure the Mind Flayer picked the appearance of a paladin just because people associate paladins with protection and healing and things like that. No matter what you say.
Independent.
Approve.
Good.
Although, actually, interestingly, if you pick the Dark Urge one, you won't actually chop off the hand, but it mentioned that the Dark Urge could be the ruin of everyone. So he is aware of that, which makes sense because that character, the Emperor, did meet the Dark Urge when you're both in the same Mind Flayer colony.
There is great potential within you. It comes from that parasite. Your instinct is to resist the power it gives, but you must accept it. Nurture it. I will keep it from consuming you. But for the sake
Now, we could absolutely do without it. It's totally possible to quit the campaign without those powers. They're pretty minor. I do plan to use them because some of them are pretty interesting and fun, and I just kind of like to show all the options that exist in the game that I'm playing. But we really don't need it. This, I guess, is kind of part of the astral plane, although we're just dreaming it, so... Looks like probably the skull of a dead god there. The astral plane is littered with corpses of gods and things like that. There are, as I mentioned before, way too many gods in this setting.
for the fate of Faerun. A fight we are losing.
We'll find out this fight, I guess, is actually between the Emperor's minion brains versus Githyanki.
But only if you embrace your potential.
Don't know why they don't look like brains or whatever, but maybe the Emperor's just giving this whole light show to distract and confuse us and lie.
I will be back.
The Emperor would later claim never to have lied to us, but that is itself, of course, a lie. I'll probably keep track of all the lies the Emperor has told, in fact. I am unsure what actually happened there. Maybe the Emperor just created that whole pretended danger to protect us from in that moment. So from now on, we can unlock illithid powers when we find Mind Flayer parasites, which we'll do some of soon. Yeah, I will try talking to Wither, see if that gets rid of his endless repeating of their important matters to discuss. Let's try.
Not this one.
Okay. Here he's talking about how we can get hirelings, is kind of, replace the party members, if we want to replace anyone who died or something like that, or just have someone of a different race, class combination. Which is quite useful, but, I mean, story-wise, we have to keep the people we have, because they actually have personalities and stories.
Righting the balance. Beyond mortal realms, there doth exist an amalgamation of spirits akin to...
The little background details we get about them, if we look at them in the hirelings menu, don't indicate they're all actually ensnared by the cult.
Felled in its name. They bear great discontentment with their destiny.
In any case, it's all just kind of an excuse to give us these extra party members if we want them. Can't go above 4, but we can replace our current people with other people, so we can have different races and things like that. Which I feel like is a good choice. If anything, they don't go far enough with it. They should probably just give us whatever races and classes we want from this menu if we choose to do that.
Most willingly, forsooth. Their passions doth run deep for what hath...
Not that you even have to give them any kind of personality other than him just talking for them, but... Okay. Let's see if there's any more rest scenes. Oh, we can do the one with the Volo, and also Scratch is here and will be able to join us as a companion later on.
Ah, my good fellow. Quite the cozy setup you have here.
Didn't we go through that?
I'll just make...
I feel like I've heard that line from him 3 times. I can't wait to have a better looking outfit than the silly bard one. I'll fix that next session. I've got a plan.
A brilliant technique that seems quite actionable.
And it's the obvious one of just gouging out your eye and the parasite behind it.
Just behind the orbital socket, I could attempt an extraction. I've a needle in my tunic after all.
What's the worst that could happen? We've got Revivify scrolls and whatnot. Better than having your brain slowly eaten by a mind flare.
Volo carefully
I mean, the Dream Visitor's promising to protect him, but he doesn't really trust that because
uncertainly
that's
with the needle.
Why would we trust that?
The needle finds the gap between eyeball
Or hiding
and
things
socket.
from him.
Volo frowns and begins to push.
We just twist that around like... clearly the worst way to do this. But we can't have someone more competent do it.
Pain shoots through your
I was shocked this doesn't actually kill you the first time I went through with this.
optic nerve.
I think I have it.
The needle seesaws back and forth, plucking the nerve like a harp string.
Oh, bother. There's some obstacle in the way. I shall need a more robust implement.
Volo carefully withdraws the needle from your eye. Then, reaching into his bag, he produces an ice pick.
I don't think that if Volissa was in his right mind and not feeling him discovering that he's like this murderer with a goblin for a butler, he'd go through with this.
Volo's
Oh, I'm gonna eye the implement, alright.
pick closer to your eye.
Now,
Cold metal presses against the skin beneath.
Companions disapprove of this insane choice.
Tap, tap, stab.
do you feel that? Ha! I agree. It's a feisty critter. Just a little further.
I really don't get how this doesn't absolutely just stab through your eye into your brain and kill you. But it... yes, he must be a weak, noodle-armed bard.
Drat.
And of course, he somehow failed to get the parasite. I don't get how he failed to do that either.
Looks down at your eye and recoils slightly as it sinks into the mud.
But despite that, we're actually fine. And we'll get a magic replacement eye that'll be even better.
There appears to be an amount of cosmetic damage.
That'd be a stupid thing to say, because that was obviously going to happen.
Perhaps you should visit a healer. You could have them check on your eye at the same time. I can't help but feel partly responsible. Perhaps there is something more I can do. Take this.
I do like the expression just kind of staring at this.
That old jelly you were chained to. Try it on for size.
So he'll flee from camp now. We can't get his stuff anymore until he shows up again later on in the game.
I'm sure
That's okay. As I said before, the Whispering Promise is pretty good, but here where I can't really heal because I can't use healing potions and whatnot, it would be much less good.
terribly sorry, my friend. Ta.
He's going to hate that word or phrase, ta. First Mazora, now this guy, before fleeing. Everyone approves of petting the dog, of course. There's that blood on the ground, still there from that murder so many days ago in probably a different campsite, really. Can't get rid of it. Out, damned spot.
You carry a Githyanki relic.
Ah, this scene.
I will have an explanation. Or your head.
Ah, there's
Walk
taking
away.
someone's head again.
No.
Phrase a little tiny bit differently, all of it.
I won't warn you again.
That artifact is an heirloom of my people. Likely she spilled Githyanki blood in order to steal it. This cannot stand.
Heirloom? Plunder from some conquered realm, more like.
Shadowheart's probably right about that.
The artifact is the only thing keeping us from becoming slaves to our parasites. Be glad I have it.
Also true. I feel like I should, act like a parental figure here and say I'll just hold on to the artifact until the two of them can learn to share, but not an option. Really, nothing we can do here actually addresses this.
Remove yourself if you are so easily offended.
There's no actual conversation option to change the outcome that I'm aware of.
Nonsense. You're just finally showing us what you really are. A reaver to the bone.
Spare your indignity.
I mean,
Every
she herself
word
stole
that
it,
comes from your
but-
mouth is worth less than the last.
To ask what this is even about would be so silly at this point.
Bloodletting settles feuds and roots out the weak.
There she is again, being insane.
This tribe.
I sure do, Shadowheart, you're completely right.
She wants us to turn on each other.
No others. Just you and me.
Okay, that'd be the stupidest response, but I guess I have to pick it now.
Lae'zel thinks I have something important to her people. She's deluded, clear.
Lies. She carries an heirloom of my people. I must know why.
You hear that, Lae'zel? It's called common sense.
Tisk. You seek reason in dishonor.
I doubt this one's wits will be any sharper by then.
That's true, but tempers are not what same thing as wits.
Come daylight, we will find a place to end this.
Fine. You can accept you're wrong, or we'll be rid of you permanently. Either way, I win.
Yeah, Ballista is not impressed with the way Shadowheart acted during that little display either.
You had everything.
This part's better, though.
The other way. But here we are.
And again, Lae'zel kept talking how she'll
Spare me the justification.
sneak up on the people she needs to. No one ever get her by surprise, but here we are.
I'll say you were transforming. Don't expect to be mourned.
Almost failed that one. Thank you for guidance.
She's a liability. It's the artifact we need, not her.
Let me up, and I'll show you. Surrender. A disgusting notion.
You had better warm to that notion very rapidly, or your journey ends here. We needn't be enemies. There's plenty of those to go around already.
What would you have? That we be friends?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But imagine what we might achieve if we channeled some of that hostility back at our real foes, instead of each other. They wouldn't stand a chance.
Once again, I'm sure that Stride will say he wished they fought it out to the death or whatever. He literally does say that. Ballistic's little eye roll there is definitely what I am feeling about this. He really hates Astarion and Leyboingzel. But that's why he keeps them around. There we go.
Dog pants through a ball held firmly in his mouth. He relinquishes the ball. It is well chewed and slick with drool.
So if we throw it now, then he'll fetch it. One time he accidentally wandered into the path when I was throwing it and got hit, and that caused people in camp to become hostile to me. So, careful. That should do. Alright.
Here we go.
That should be the last little forced rest to avoid other than the Elminster one in this act, I believe. So, next time I can get on with Healer Nettie, with a few little fight things in the vicinity of the Emerald Grove, and then go through the whole rest of Act 1 with no rest whatsoever and no more camp scenes to do, I don't think. Thank you for watching, everyone. And a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Master Knight DH, Jackie and Lino, George Grin, Travis, Carlo Andrea 97, Gregory, Danny Hall, William Wakefield, Jeffrey Morse, Dylan Wagner, Just Becca, Jack, Austin Livingston, and Manuel Mascardi. Have a great day, everyone.